Then Reza's following up. Reza, I've got Braintree. She's asking questions that relates to when would you use Braintree over Stripe, and can you go over a little bit about the payment processors and the pluses and minuses of each one?
Yeah, so I actually recommend Braintree to most people. I would actually, so it would be beneficial to actually have both, and because it doesn't hurt to have a backup merchant processor. If you've been in business long enough, you'll know that you'll always need a backup merchant processor.
Why is that?
Well, basically, I mean, any merchant processor could come in at any time and say, hey, you know what, we're shutting down your account. We don't like what you're selling. We don't like you. We don't like the way your breath smells, whatever it might be.
No good reason for that.
Yeah, and so basically, it's good to have a backup, so that way, if you do get shut down by a merchant processor, you have a backup that you can plug in right away, instead of waiting a couple weeks to apply for a new merchant processor and things like that. So the benefit of Stripe Braintree is it's a lot easier to set up and just get going. Anybody can sign up, you plug in your bank account information, and you get started. They come in later and they do an audit, and they could then shut you down at that point if they don't like what you're selling.
So it's an approval after the fact.
Exactly. What I was going to say is with Braintree, they have an approval process that you have to go through before you start selling. And so if you get approved by Braintree, it's less likely that they'll come in later and shut you down. Also, Braintree is owned by PayPal. And so if you're using Braintree, I can actually show you on this order form page here.
And by the way, when Mark first got me going with my business, he recommended Braintree. I did it. I was pretty happy, and I also like the fact that for the first $50,000 in orders, there is no processing fee.
So you'll see here that they actually have the option of using PayPal as a checkout, and it will work with one-click upsells. So if I go through here, what it'll do is, this is a sandbox account, it's just a test account, but it'll add, the user would then log into PayPal and say PayPal is the payment method. They add their email address, complete the order, and then if you have an upsell page, it would still just be a one-click upsell. So it gives them the option of using Braintree, and you can still offer those one-click upsells. And then I've heard some horror stories from people who were selling a product that was totally legit, and it seems like with Stripe, if all of a sudden your volume jumps up, which we hope that it does, right? I mean, we're all in the business of making money, and so you hope that your volume increases, but if you get too big of a jump, Stripe gets nervous. And they say, oh, this person is making too much money now. And that can actually happen with any merchant processor, but
they're concerned about fraud, and they think that sets off bells in their system that you might be doing something fraudulent.